Hello. We are live. What's going on, guys? Let me know if you guys can hear me. I just got a really big pinch in the shirt. Jeez, more unusual. Devontae, what's good, brother? I'm gonna pass this off. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Pass this off to Erica, and she'll read off as fast as she can. Boom. Can you hear? You don't have your headphones in, do you? No?
Hello, John from Ireland.
From Ireland, yes, Ireland. Ask him if I said, am I saying Ireland the right way? Ireland. I want to get approval. I'm dead serious. I got to work on my accents. Ireland. I went on, I go on YouTube all the time and I look up different accents, like acting coaches, and I try to,
Harry says, from Singapore, watching you live while doing cardio.
Nice. Cool.
Dude says you're looking light as a feather.
Light as a feather? I feel light as a feather. I feel light as a... Or...
It says, I don't know because I live in Ireland and I'm from Poland.
Oh. All right. Well, cool. Guys, we're in the gym today, obviously. So I know you guys want to, we can chat, nutrition as well. But while we're here in the gym, let me know if you guys want to go over some form, technique stuff, range of motion, training questions, whatever. I'm here for you guys, and we'll just, I'll do my best to answer the questions with as much knowledge as I have. So.
I said, I just started the 10-roll lift pace from your video about dropping body fat 10 days ago, and it's changing my life already.
Yes.
To you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That's cool. It's good to, it's one thing from when I say things, but when you guys are actually doing it, that's the most empowering thing ever. So as much as you guys give me the thanks, I want you guys to make sure you're thanking yourselves and acknowledging the fact that you're doing the work. It's like I'm jumping through the screen and doing it for you. So keep it up. Proof is in the pudding.
Jared wants to know, how do you deal with DOMs?
You get over it. Honestly, it's just stick to your regular routine in terms of making sure you're recovering. Your nutrition is on point in terms of eating enough protein and calories and whatnot. Resting, stretching, that will help. But DOM is something that's gonna happen when you start a new stimulus and whatnot. So just continue, and it'll eventually go away.
Is it all right to feel your triceps while doing lat prayers?
Yes, and here's why. So you should feel your triceps when you're doing lat prayers, but you should feel them at the end. If you're feeling them at the beginning, there's a couple things that might be happening when you're doing them. I'll give you an example here. Regardless if you're using a straight bar or a rope, I like to use a straight bar because a couple things we can do to get our triceps out of the equation. Our triceps do assist with shoulder extension. So my arm going from here to here, my lats do that job, right? So do my triceps. That's why when you go back here and you push back, you can feel your triceps a lot. So when you're doing lat prayers, if your elbows are bent like this, and you get a little bit of movement, even if you're like this, your triceps are engaged, right? So a couple things, you could be bending like this and feeling it, which you will. But if you do it like this, so I like to come this way. I want my elbows to be think about bending it the other way. So internally rotate, but not so much that you're really jammed in, but we just want our elbows to be at the side like this, right? When we're at the side, I can't bend my elbow, right? When we're down here, I can definitely bend from there. So we want to put our elbows out to the side. As you can see right now, I can't really bend my arm, and all that load is sitting on my lats. So think that. But again, at the very end, your triceps will be, you will feel it because they do assist with that movement.
How do you properly do a front squat, especially placing the bar?
Eric, you gotta do this.
I know.
Yeah, you do it. I'm gonna get Eric to do it because right now, I mean, actually I can show here. I'll show him with, I'll show him, I'll give you guys a couple ways to do it. There's a way that us guys who don't have the shoulder mobility do it. And then there's the way that you should be doing it if you have the shoulder mobility. So I'll just do like this so it's out this way. So you can see, this is gonna hurt. Yeah. So when you're doing front squats, you basically like a couple things you can do. First way to I'm gonna do a video on this, man. Thank you, dog. First things first, we're doing front squats. You should be like, you want it like sitting right in the middle here. Okay. You want it to be sitting like, if you see my collarbone here, and then my delt, my front delt like starts and finishes here, top part and the bottom. I want it sitting like this, right? So make sure I'm in the middle of this. There you go. So when I'm doing a front squat, I should be able to just sit like this. So squatting down and whatnot, I should be able this way. Now, when we're doing a front squat with our hands crossed, we want to be here and then crossing over like this, and then we want to keep the elbows high, right? Same thing if we're going to do it the normal front rack position. Front rack meaning basically front squat, but like you should be able to balance the weight here first and then actually squat down. Where's the, can you get the wedges? Give me a sec. Give me a sec, ladies and gents. They're right here. All right, just so I can actually perform a squat properly. You guys know my hips are messed up right now. But so give you an idea, guys. When I'm doing a front rack or front squat, I should be able to balance this weight right here, basically. So when I'm squatting and I'm down, I should be able to keep this up this way, my bad, like this. Now, hands over top this way, elbows are gonna stay up. So when we're at the bottom, this doesn't roll off, right? We don't want to roll off if you're having your elbows down. If you're doing, so I'll kind of get up again. I'm right here. I should be able to balance this thing up and down while I'm doing it. We're gonna cross hands over like this. I don't mind doing it that way, but you have to be very conscious that when we're like this, we can have a little bit of a back rounding. So then when we're squatting, we can start doing this a bit. So you gotta be conscious of making sure that when your elbows are here, we're keeping our posture and our elbows up so you have a nice flatter back. Now, if you actually have the mobility, you gotta do it like this. If you can. If you can actually do a front squat, it's a little higher for, but proper front rack position is this. So elbows are up, right? So, and basically like what's happening is she's not holding on this. You can see her, you have to have some pretty good wrist, flexion or mobility for it to do this. Otherwise it's gonna be pretty painful. But you can see like the bar is exactly the same way it was on me. This bar is being held up by her elbows being up, not by her trying to hold this, right? So basically it's on the same place I had mine when my hands are sticking out and her keeping her elbows up. So when she squats, you want elbows to stay up on the way up and up on the way down, right? And then making sure that our elbows are basically like parallel and in like this. So that's a front rack position, proper front rack. And then the way I was doing it is like what most people will do it when they don't have that mobility that I have, like that Erica has. So if you can do it this way, it's probably the best way to be able to do it. I would continue to do this way if you can, but then start working your mobility so you can actually get yourself in a position, doing little things like this, like just kind of one side at a time and kind of rotating or having hands like this and like stretching it down, opening up your teres and your lats and whatnot.
I feel my side and rear delts more than my chest on incline bench presses. Please, what can I be doing wrong and how can I fix it?
What? Say it again.
I feel my side and rear delts more doing incline bench press than his chest. Please.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
What am I doing wrong?
I know exactly what you're doing wrong. So like, here's the thing, it's what's cool. I love, these are great questions, guys. And so, and we're gonna go over a couple things. Like right after this question, before I get to the next question, I want you guys to understand exactly what my philosophy is when we're talking about training. He's talking about this big bench. Incline bench. Okay. So a couple of things you're probably doing on incline bench that are feeling your side delt. Super simple. Shouldn't say that because you have an issue with it. So for me, it's super simple. I mean, I really don't even need to rack this thing. So what's happening for you is I can promise you a couple of things. If our rear, come this way. If my rear delts, if my side and rear delts, if I'm feeling it that way, a couple of things. I'm trying to stabilize unconsciously with my rear delt, and I'm internally rotating. So a lot of times when people do bench, they're like this, right? Can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
Right, so you can go for the side, right? So if I'm up like here, like right now, I'm like gravity right now, my joints are stacked. The ceiling's right above me. When this goes down, this is a perfect alignment on the way down. Sometimes when we're here, we're kind of like this. And then we end up doing this. And we do, like right now at the bottom, I feel a stretch, so I can be like, yeah, man, I can feel my chest, but here, I'm a little inter-rotated, and I can feel my lateral head of my delts and my rear delts doing this. And this is something that I'm actually working with one of my clients online, is that it's a little bit of this that's happening. It's pushing like this, and that happens all the time. So what we want to do is, right, shoulders back and away from your ears, right, from here. And that ceiling's pointing up. You should be able to point your fingers to the ceiling and point right up. And you want those elbows, you want to think about bending the bar a bit, right? When I bend the bar slightly, I'm letting my elbows come underneath. So when they go down, that load stays over my chest. If I internally rotate, which means if I'm trying to bend this bar this way, if I bend it this way, that's coming onto my delts immediately, right? I can feel that on my side delt and my rear delt. So what you're doing is you're not stacking the joint. So bend the bar this way until your elbows get underneath the weight from here, chest up, and push down and push. And I kind of have a little bit of that tension, so it stays the entire time. All right.
For bicep curls, which is preferable, dumbbell, cable, or barbell? I assume this is in your preference?
So there'll be my preference, and there'll be like, so my preference is going to be, it's backwards. It's going to be based on a few things. Availability, number one, right? So if you, let's say you have everything available, it's going to be a couple of things. Where am I going to get the greatest amount of stretch? Like when it comes to the full range of motion, where am I going to get the most amount of tension from the full range? Like what's going to allow me to do that? Can I progressive overload it? And again, do I like it? So when it comes to dumbbells, I can do dumbbell curls seated like this, and I get a great stretch from the bottom here and pulling up. Awesome stretch from here and all the way up. If I stand up, I like doing curls this way, but I'm not going to get enough of a stretch down here because nothing's challenging my biceps. Even though I'm stretching it, it needs to be stretched under load. Right now I'm holding it. So the only thing really challenging being challenged muscular-wise is my traps, pulling it down, right? So when it comes to exercise, dumbbell seated incline will help, or doing them this way where you have the cables kind of down this way. We're stepping out like this, and we have a stretch here. It's basically the same thing we're doing on the bench. So wherever you're gonna get the greatest amount of stretch. Again, how much more muscle are you gonna build if you do it this way or this way, as opposed to just like grabbing, you know, someone said a comment about me lifting 40 pounds the other day. I was like, listen, mom, I get lifting 60s, just to let you know. I can let my ego go a little bit, okay? But when it comes to tension, I can lift this and curl from here and still get a good amount of tension all the way through. I just have to be aware that I need to make sure that I'm treating this 50 with the same amount of tension and awareness as the other movements. When I add weight, or if I'm standing in a position where I'm not getting that much of a stretch down here, I have to make the rep harder, like pushing out and coming down and letting it stretch the bottom. You know, pulling up and then pushing out, I'm getting a stretch all the way down the bottom like that. So I would say those two exercises will probably trump this in a bit, but again, if you're gonna use just regular dumbbells in standing, you have to create more tension by, you know, either lengthening the set, being more attentive to the negative, you know, a couple things with like body English, like pushing away a little force, we can get a stretch on the way down. Hope that answers your question.
Hey Johnny, what do you think about 1.5 lateral raises? I'm assuming that's...
Oh, 1.5.
What would that be like?
I don't know what that is. I guarantee I know what it is, but we're probably different words. So try and break that down for me and I'll answer it down.
What is the best way to get into a starting position on a chest fly machine without hurting your shoulders?
And a chest fly machine?
I would assume these.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna try and act this one out. Okay, so I'm assuming we're gonna be in a pec deck machine. There's a machine at the gym I just came from that has it just all the way back. Couple things. If yours adjusts, there's like numbers at the top. Usually for me, most machines, I've been around a lot of machines, the 3 is like the third like click is gonna put you like back like this. So a couple things you can do. First of all, if you have a partner, get them to pass it to you. Secondly, you can always, again, I'll grab one like this. I'll come this way, pull this way. I'll grab the other one, pull here, sit down, and then I'll push it out, and then I'll start. And then when I'm done, and I'm like, oh shit, then I'm gonna do this to this one, and then I'll grab this one and pull it back like that. I was using an old school pec deck that didn't have adjustments at the top to, you know, for the handles. So it would literally start behind me. So I had to grab from here, pull it from here, grab the other one, pull it from here and sit down. But if you do have one that has the adjustments at the top, the little pins you can pull out to adjust the arms, adjust them to where it's gonna give you stretch at your lengthened position. So you don't wanna have it here where it's like, there's nothing there. Have it back a little bit, and then again, grab one side first, pull it in, grab the other side, pull it in, push out, open up, and then go.
Any advice on how to have huge traps, and how many days should I train my traps in? You're watching from Philippines.
You want big traps, all right. If you're gonna train your traps a lot, make sure you're stretching. That's all I'm gonna say. So apart from that, you can train them. Here's the thing. If you're training back, right? Remember, traps will do a few things. Traps can do shoulder elevation, they do scapular retraction, and they will do a little bit of shoulder depression. Your mid traps do pull your shoulders down a little bit, not as much as your lats do. So when you think about it, most people when they think about traps are always thinking just this. This is the only thing they think about when it comes to traps. When in actuality, if I came over here and did like a row, I can row without doing anything and just go from here and here. And that is working my traps, right? So anytime you're doing back rowing, you're doing a lot of your traps. So if you're doing, say, like back twice a week, you're rowing, you're getting some trap work. And then I can maybe add, you know, another day of actual traps on your shoulder day, and you can do more of like, you know, the shoulder elevation exercises. I would recommend doing something where they're dumbbell or even like a hex bar where the weight or the dumbbells are on the side of your body in a more natural position, so you can actually pull up from here. You can do the cables where you pull from the ground. You can step back. I'll show you actually. Might as well. This is one that I borrowed from my boys at Pure Muscle and Fitness. So really good exercise. This is a really fun one to do if you want to do it. Basically, I would start from here at the bottom, step out from here, and then we're pulling here. Basically on the same angle, we're just pulling back like this. We're gonna step in a little closer, and then we're pulling a little bit up and back, and then we're stepping right into it. Obviously this will be lower, and then now we're pulling straight up like this. You can say basically a giant set. You can do like 10 to 15 reps of each. Start from here, go gas it out, step in a bit, gas it out, step in a bit from here, gas it out. And then you can do your traditional dumbbell shrugs, or guided hex bar is really good too. Again, when you're doing them, same thing as every other muscle. Get it all the way up, control it down, and stretch it, get all the way up. Which reminds me, before we go to the next question, what I want to teach you guys when it comes to lifting is a couple things. And I know myself, Dr. Mike, Jeff Nipper, a bunch of good coaches out there have emphasized this stretch, which is completely important, 100%. The problem with that is for the most part, people don't feel the actual muscle itself, right? So for instance, if I'm going to teach somebody to do a lat prayer, and I tell them to stretch, of course you can get a stretch here and feel a stretch. When you're actually feeling the muscle, when it comes to like the muscle-mind connection, that's mainly in the part where you're shortening the muscle. So for me to feel my bicep, I have to shorten it. I have to flex my bicep to feel my bicep. I have to flex my tricep to feel my tricep. When I want you guys to understand that, I want you to really focus on the full range of motion from all the way to the top, and then controlling it from the peak shortened contraction all the way down. That allows you to actually feel the muscle in its contraction, and then coming down with it, and then getting the fullness out of the full range of motion. But again, it makes the rep that much harder. You get a lot much more muscle recruitment when you're the full range or that negative starting from that peak contraction all the way down. So don't miss the peak contraction, and you'll find that you'll be able to feel your muscle that much better when you get all the way up on all exercises. Rowing all the way in, and then coming out, stretching it, right? Pressing all the way out, squeezing it, coming down, stretching it, pulling up, you know where I'm getting at. So I'll do a lot more of these in videos to get you guys to understand that more, and that's what I want for you guys, just to really feel your muscle.
Hello, my forearms and elbows hurt and limit me while doing lat pull downs. Any advice on that?
Are you using straps? If you're not using straps, use straps. For the most part, some people aren't. Just their lats are going to be stronger than their forearms, right? It's a stronger muscle altogether. So sometimes when you're pulling without any straps, your lats are going to continue to go, but your forearms are going to gas a lot more. But you also have to be careful of how you're pulling as well too. So if you're yanking and pulling from here, and this you probably will feel in your elbows. Wear straps. 1, 2, stretch. A lot of times when I hear people having issues with their elbows when they're doing any kind of pulling, it's usually the case that you've worked enough that we're not mobile. So every time we train, we're shortening the muscle more and more and more. That's why when you leave a good chest day or arm day, you're kind of like shortened up a little bit. And then when you go home and you don't do anything about it, your muscle heals kind of shortened, right? We want to make sure that we're stretching everything after, get some mobility done. There you go.
I like to use a sled push at the gym and feel my back and hips really working. I have a Smith machine at home. Would deadlifts be the best exercise for my hips?
Yeah, so deadlifts are good for hip drive. So when I started doing deadlifts, and what you're telling me right now, I'm just kind of bringing myself back to my athletic days, is that's very functional stuff. So like for me, deadlifts were a move. Deadlifts or actually like hip thrusts, it was something to help my hip drive strength from here. Deadlifts will help with that if we're doing them with like speed. But I would definitely be doing things to strengthen your hip in terms of like actually mobility, like being able to pull your leg all the way up, opening it up and stretching from that full range. Simply just keeping yourself in one fixed position and doing this, or just, chugging along from here, it will strengthen here. But strength is a combination of mobility and power. So not just, I can just do this fast, because again, when we shorten this area here, it just starts to play against us. So make sure you're doing a lot of hip mobility work, right? Fire hydrants, side plank, stuff like this, where you're doing like this will help out like strengthening your hip, holding it, this way as well too. Doing stuff like this, pulling yourself in can help, opening yourself up, doing exercises like where you're here, right? And pulling your foot, kicking your foot out, right? Pulling it to the side, and then coming back and pulling in, right? Out, and come to your side. So don't think of just like, big compounds to strengthen your hips. So sometimes the little ones to help your mobility and your strength in your hips.
I have problems with my lower back pain, not during workouts, when I sit in a car and drive. What stretches or exercises can I do for lower back?
So if your lower back's hurting, a couple things, core is not engaged. So we'll do this. We're in a car. I'm in the UK. Open this side up, got in, right? We're in a car. We're mostly like this, driving. Not many people are doing this, right? So you're sitting for a bit on your hips, are kind of like non-active, right? When you think about it, take all your weight from here, pushing down our back, not doing much here, and our legs kind of dead hanging here while we press on the pedal, and we're doing this. This is compacting our back. So you have to, in all things you do, and this is what I have to do because I have sciatica, I have deteriorating vertebrae in my L4 and L5, so I have to have my core engaged. So when I'm driving a car, I'm actually like this. I am rarely like this or any kind of posture this way. Even when I'm riding a bike, I'm like this. Even when I'm over my tank, I'm like this. I'm not like this. So it's a core engaged thing that you have to learn to do. Just like always keep your core like semi-engaged. Then at the same time, stretching your lower back. Easy things to do if you don't want to do anything like that difficult. Really, honestly, like as soon as you get out of bed, you wake out of bed, you're like, oh shit. Get your side of bed and just kind of like relax and hang. And let your body just like relax. And this will kind of open your back up a bit. And then like in, breathe, and then exhale slowly. And you'll feel everything kind of get heavier. And you can see the difference too. If I do this standing up, same idea if I was standing up. If you're watching me from here, right? Oh, my hip is just, there you go. So I'm like this. If I'm sitting here, like there, right? I'm relaxing. I'm as far as I can. If I take a deep breath in, you can see how lower I get naturally. So the more I breathe in and relax my body and breath, the more my muscles start to relax and open up. Because again, like when you're training, sitting, everything is getting tight and bunched up, so we have to like stretch. So little things like that. You do some rotations too, side to side, windshield wipers. There's a video I did, just look up like Johnny Sheave Mobility. There's some stuff there that you guys can do for sure.
Comment says, so flex muscles while rep is happening?
Yes, yeah. Here, great, and this is for everybody. I'm gonna reiterate this all the time. A lot of times, and this is just for me coaching, so it's from experience. Not many people, most, if not all people, are relying on the weight to contract the muscle. My thing is feeling bad. Okay, so what I mean by that is, like, if I'm gonna do a pull, let's just say I'm doing a pull down. Let's go over here, why not? So we're doing like lat pull downs. And this is like a very good example too. When we're doing lat pull downs, most people when they get in, they're relying on the weight for me to contract and pull down. So I'm not necessarily contracting anything, I'm just pulling the weight, and because they have to pulling is shortening, is contracting. So I think that I'm working the lats, but I'm really not, because all I'm doing is I'm just pulling, and that can result in me pulling with my bicep, pulling with my obliques, pulling with my traps, and getting down, where I want to engage the muscle and then load the engagement. So when I'm training at everything, and this is something you guys need to learn, this is what I want to coach you guys to do, and this is going to give you that much more results, and it's going to make things way harder, so you'll have to actually like use less weight. I want you to think about flexing the muscle. Like if I'm doing a bicep curl, like right now, I'm doing a bicep curl, right? I got no weight in my hand, I'm doing a bicep curl. 1001, 1002, 1003, stretch, pull, 1001. There's no weight in my hand. Now, I do the same thing with this, and I flex, right? I'm not relying on the dumbbell for me to contract my muscle. I am flexing the muscle, and then I am loading the engaged or the flexed muscle. So whenever you're training, that's why you need to like really focus on being able to actually contract the muscle without weight. That way, when we actually load the muscle that's contracted, that makes the rep that much harder and actually more optimal.
Any tips on how to get full range of motion on calf exercises?
Yeah, like super simple, to be honest with you, buddy. If we're doing standing, right, I'll just go here, right? If I'm standing, I'm just gonna use this for instance. This is my full range, right? And if I just sit here, my natural weight of my body is gonna push me all the way down. And this is where I wanna be at the bottom of my calf raise. And then all the way up, and then loading it down, and then letting my weight pull me into position here. So for calf raises, even like when you're doing in the Smith machine, or if you're doing a leg press, same idea. When we're in a leg press, we just have to let the weight push our feet into position so we're fully, flex. This is called dorsal flexion, guys, and this is plantar flexion, right? When we're on our tippy toes, that's plantar flexion. Dorsiflexion is pulling a toe up. So we wanna be fully dorsiflex to fully plantar flex, and then riding it down, and then again, like making sure we're on like some kind of like a step or something to elevate that foot so we can get fully contracted the bottom. Like right now, I got a great stretch in my calf. And that's where I want to feel the bottom of my left. I want to feel a nice stretch here and then driving it up.
And how do you know, he says he has a hard time knowing if he's getting all the way to the top when he's pushing to the top position?
Well, here's one. So you guys do it on the floor, right? Don't worry about doing it on a level right now. But the top of your lift is when you naturally can get to the ball of your feet. Now everyone's different, right? I got background in a lot of things, dance, sports, everything. So I can sit like this. This is where you need to be able to be at the top. You don't have to be any further than this because I can't go any further than this. So think about when you get to the ball of your toe and you can be, balanced and then coming all the way down.
How many sets in a week for the chest?
Video coming out tomorrow about that. Actually, so you guys are gonna ruin the video for tomorrow. Anyway, so the video for tomorrow is basically for each muscle group, 10 to 20 hard sets, 24 hard sets a week. But on a day-to-day basis and a workout, 3 to 12 hard sets for each muscle group. So if I'm gonna train chest, I only need 3 to 12 hard sets. When it comes to exercises, and I'm explaining that in the video as well too, when it comes to exercises, so you guys are doing like 95 chest movements, you have to look at how many movements or functions do each muscle group do. And it's between 1 to 3 things. The chest does 1 to 3 things. It does 3. If you think about all the heads of the chest and the movements, primarily the chest brings the arms in and does this. That's 1. 2, it does help bring the arm up, but it helps bring the arm up while it's adducted. 3, it helps bring the arm down as well while adducting. So if you think about it, it's doing 1, 2, 3 things, right? So if I did like in a day 3 to 12 hard sets, that could be like 3 exercises, 4 hard sets each, right? Or anything between that. So I hope that answers the question.
What does your warm-up look like before your leg day?
So my warm-up for leg days, I will do some hip opener stuff. So whether I'm doing anything where like I'm on my hip here, I'll come up from this way, come back and open up and just get my hip moving a bit and warm, right? I'll do some stuff where I'm walking from here and just open my hip up from here, just loading it and getting up and stuff like this. And then the biggest part is literally just squatting. So if I'm squatting or squatting, leg press or whatever, I'm going through the actual motion in terms of like, I'm letting the weight load me down into position. The best way to load them to warm the muscle up in all exercise is to do the exercise itself, right? You can do all the arm swings, hip swings, whatever you want, but until you get under the load, that's when you're starting to be challenged. So just think about like if you're doing, squats, get under a bar. Even if you're not doing squats, just get under a bar and let it pull you all the way down. So you can sit there or like sit in your hole so you can actually get your hips warmed up and get in there. Ooh, hear that? Jeez. Click.
Can we talk about water intake for muscle growth and bulking? What happens if we do everything right for our workout and diet but not drink enough water?
I forget what percentage of our body is water.
70.
60 or 70, don't quote me on this, but 6 or 70% of our body, or just our muscle, is water. So put it this way, it's extremely important. If I don't drink any water, you're not gonna grow, right? Water, number one, is like the catalyst to all chemical reactions in your body. Think about like a conductor, right? It's a conductor in a way. If I want electricity to happen, there's gotta be water present, right? And a lot of the synapse that happens, a lot of the stimulus happens, water has to be present. So if we're dehydrated, it's gonna stunt our growth. How much will stunt our growth? I'm not saying that if you don't drink water, you're never gonna grow, because if there are things you can hack that will put you through that, steroids, right? But it's how well will the muscle grow and how healthy will the muscle be. So yeah, you might be able to grow, but not to the best of your ability. But then again, what happens? You start pulling things, right? That's when you start tearing muscle, pulling muscle. When the muscles are basically dehydrated, that's when injuries start to happen. So you will grow muscle, but not as healthy as you will. And you will most likely, if not, definitely will get injured when you're dehydrated.
Please show us shoulder dumbbell press form.
Y'all gotta get my videos, man. This is showing me that you guys are watching my videos, which is good, because some of y'all might be new. So if you're new, this is awesome. So dumbbell. Okay, so you can, this on the, all right, so this is like a little bit, so for me, when it comes to dumbbells, because we're dumbbells, we're gonna get a little more lateral head, which is great. If we're doing, say, like barbell, we're gonna get more anterior head. So when it comes to, you know, your incline, your bench, you can go a little bit less than 90 or greater than 90, sorry. But you don't have to be like completely 90 degrees, it's not comfortable. Regardless of how you are, right? Dumbbells down first, right? From here, we wanna kick a dumbbell up first. So kick one up, kick up, hold it there, right? First. Kick the other one up, hold it there. Then we're gonna readjust myself in my seat, get my feet planted, get my hands grip where they're supposed to be, shoulders back over my ears from here, and then I'm gonna have, you can see where already I have a little angle on my arms. That's what I want. I don't wanna be out like this. I want a slight little bit of an angle from here, head up, chest up, we're gonna push overhead naturally, and then letting it come down and stretching, and letting it stretch all the way down below our ears so we get a full stretch, and then pushing up again. And then again, I want to push myself into the bench. I want to avoid doing this, right? I don't want my shoulders elevated. I want my shoulders to stay down. So I'll give you kind of a cue, or I would say like just pretend you're pushing yourself into the ground. And that kind of helps keep your shoulder, or I call it your pad shelf or your collarbone. It keeps it down instead of coming up. And then you're like this, and you're in your neck. All pressing movements, pulling movements, think about like always having, this is a shout out to Mike Van Wyck. It's a great cue. You want as much space from your ear to your shoulders on every movement. You should never, unless doing shrugs, no movement, you should be like this, right? If I'm pulling, pushing, pressing, I should be this. Rowing, pressing, lateral raising, bicep curling, tricep extending, leg extensioning. You want room from your ears to your shoulders.
Is inflammation good for muscle growth?
Inflammation? It is if it's not caused by injury, right? All inflammation is basically your body healing itself, right? And when we're training, this is what makes us muscle masochists. I used to have shirts, those will come out soon. That's what makes us kind of like, you know, gym, like muscle masochists. We are going to the gym to damage the muscle in an intelligent way, and then inflammation happens. That's the pump, right? Lactic acid, all those things. And that's what helps recover the muscle along with, you know, protein, calories, you know, hydration, rest, steroids, steroids.
Any particular poses you suggest to see how progression goes for personal motivation?
Man, yeah, someone told me I need to do a video on that. I'm going to do a video on that too, guys. A couple things. I would say, if anything, learn to do a front relax position, okay? And I'll watch out, guys. Shirt's coming off. This is what a pro physique looks like. I'm joking. But like, to be honest, all jokes aside, you probably can't hear me because. So and I have all my clients. I get all my clients to. I try to teach them enough to be able to do it, but when we're trying to, if we're doing like front sides, a front relax for a bodybuilder is basically I'm standing like, shoulder width apart from here. I'm flexing my legs a little bit, so I'm just trying to spread the floor open like this a little bit. And then my torso, my body's is up. So I'm creating a posture where if there's a hook on my chest and someone can pull my chest up from here. Now I'm long, right? You can see my torso from here. If I do this, you can see how kind of big it gets. And that's how we pose. That's how we can hide our weaknesses, right? People think I have a small waist. I don't. My waist is kind of thick here. If I do this, my waist looks a lot smaller. So what I'm doing is I'm engaging my core, pulling my belly button in. I'm not doing a vacuum. A vacuum is this. I'm not doing a vacuum. I'm pulling my belly button in from here, from the bottom, right? And then while I'm doing that, I'm lengthening my torso. And now everything is kind of like sitting here. Now for the rest of my body, I want to engage my lats. That's where we need to work on, shortening contractions. So if I was going to do the bottom of a straight arm pull down, it would look like this. So I'm here, then I'm here, and this would be a good way to sit here if I was going to take pictures. Then I can see side to side symmetrical what I look like. From the side, it's almost the same thing. The only difference is I'm going to stand this way, my legs are going to be together, and instead of being like this, I'm just going to turn everything this way, right? And I'll do a video on that, whatnot, but for the first part, just think about going straight on. Just think about trying to stay straight. Pretend there's a piece of paper on the ground. You're trying to rip the paper with your feet. That's going to cause that external rotation while we flex our quads, right? And then from here, again, bringing everything from here all the way up from here. And then we're nice and long from the torso. And then we can bring the lats in from here and then sit here. And then that's how you want to stay, if anything, any kind of pose, just to start with a front relax. And that's why I coach a lot of my athletes. If you can't do a front relax, don't worry about any other pose. It's not going to be good at all if you can't do a front relax pose.
I was told never to lock out your arms and keep tension on the muscle. What's your take on that?
So yes, I agree. The people interpret full range of motion locking out. And I'll give you an example, right? Shout out to Neil Hill I'll give you a cool story. I first got to start getting coached by Neil Hill. He's a great mentor of mine. Flex Lewis's coach, they're good buddies. He was like, he's like, where do you feel in your chest? Like, do you feel in your shoulders? I'm like, a little bit. He's like, wrong, I shouldn't. He's like, you should be able to feel in your chest. And he made me do a drill where he said, keep your body upright like this. And he's like, push. He's like, I want you to push your hands ahead, like forward, while trying to squeeze your chest, right? I'm fully locked out, but I'm not locked out. There's a difference between this and this. So when I'm pushing here, I'm flexing my tricep as well as flexing everything from here, and I'm pushing. I'm not locked out. This isn't locked out. This is locked out. I gotta say it. I love my boy Mike, but you probably see a lot of times when he does his pressing or his squats, he'll literally get to here and back down. When I'm looking at, let's just say I'm squatting right now, this is locking out. I don't want to do this, right? When I'm like this, I can't actually flex my quads that good. My quads can't flex as hard as it can if I do this. He'll show you the difference. This is me locking my legs out, right? This is me not locking my legs out. What looks bigger and fuller? Locked out or not locked out? Obviously the latter, right? So you have to understand there's a difference between locking your muscle out and getting a full range while flexed. And a lot of people, when they do that lockout, they're relying on the lockout to hold them in place, and then that's when things go bad.
Hi, Johnny. What advice do you have for someone doing their second cut after 3 years of consistent training and a 1.5-year goal? I'll reach my body weight goal by mid-June, but what should I do from there to maintain?
Okay, so I don't know I don't know because I don't know exactly what you're doing, but I can just make a scenario. Here's my scenario. Let's just say that you have, let's just say you're doing an hour of cardio for the last 16 weeks and you're eating in a 500 calorie deficit and you've lost 10 pounds, right? And now you're where you want to be, or I would say like, say you're comfortable. Let's say you're at a place where you're at a comfortable, sustainable-ish body weight. Then you just basically back off a bit from one or the other. Either start slowly decreasing your cardio and then maintain your calories, or vice versa. Maintain your cardio and then start increasing your calories. And I would do that more so than anything else because, again, when it comes down to it, the reason why some people are able to carry their leanness or the conditioning at their size, and even natural or not, is because they're moving, right? The biggest secret in this entire thing to keeping conditioning or getting to your place where you want to be after a cut and then be able to kind of stay there is balancing the amount of energy you put out in terms of like, say, cardio, and then, your calories not being high enough that it's going to start, impeding your conditioning. So again, just think about like, I would continue to keep your conditioning where it is in terms of like, cardio. If that's what you're doing, I would do that and then slowly maybe add a little bit of calories back in. And then the cardio will kind of keep your fat levels at bay. And again, we're not doing that to kind of like keep ourselves always lean. Think of cardio as that thing that's going to be like very, very good for your overall heart, your ability to recover between set to set, all the good things that cardio does.
PPL or bro split?
Depends what you have the time to do. Depends what your goals are. Splits are a couple things, right? If we're looking at, if someone needs to grow the most amount of muscle they can, and they need to have like 2 days a week to train each muscle group, or 2 times to train each muscle group, 2 to 4 times, you can do that in 6 days. You can do the same thing in 5 days. For me, a 5-day split would be for someone who at least one of those days has a muscle group that doesn't need that much attention. So like, let's say like a push-pull legs, push-pull, right? We're only doing legs once. Someone has really good, strong legs. Everything else needs to be worked on. Someone who's a beginner who needs the most amount of muscle they can, I'd be doing 6 days a week if you can. Now again, the biggest thing will be, what can you actually commit to? If you can commit to 6 days a week in the gym, and you have the time, the energy, the effort, and all the good stuff, 6 days a week in the gym. Do you have to? No, because again, if you have like a muscle group that's stronger than another, you don't need 6 days a week in the gym. You can do 5 days a week in the gym. And let's just say like you have like really strong legs and really strong chest and your back something, well then you can do 4 days a week in the gym.
Never done legs before, how should you get started?
Pray. Just pray, because the DOM's gonna suck. Start off slow. Start off very slow. Start off, which is really good. Start off with full range of motion. Start off learning how to do each movement the best you can. Binge watch my videos, binge watch Doc Mike Van Wyck, Jeff Nippard, Neo Verto guy. There's a bunch of guys out there, Eric Janicki. There's a bunch of guys there who are like very form focused, optimal that way. Start slowly getting through that. Again, your full range of motion is going to be your biggest ally, because if you start off without a good full range of motion, you're going to get strong in a shorter range and things are just going to get ugly from there. So start off slow, learn the movement properly, and then load it slowly, right? Like slowly load it. You can build muscle between 30% to 85% of your 1 rep max. I would say start at 30% and gradually work your way up while you start getting accustomed to each movement.
What do you think about knee sleeves on leg day? Not because of pain, but to additionally stabilize the knee. Does it reduce risk for injury?
No, not at all. Because again, like knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, all those things are just to aid what you should already be doing. So you should already be fully engaged in your legs and your quads and from floor to core. Always be engaged. Same with like your elbows. I should be fully engaged, and then all I'm doing with those tools or like those things is going to just basically help stabilize even more of what I'm already doing. If you're using that to do the stabilization for you, yes, that's when things get shitty.
Johnny, are you wearing barefoot shoes?
I am wearing barefoot shoes. Yes, I am. These are the Vivo barefoot shoes. Yes, I am.
Do you eat before or after a workout? If so, what's normally on your plate?
I eat after a workout, and depending on my day, if my day is super busy, I'm gonna have majority of protein and fat. So it'll be a combination of like, say like full whole eggs, 3 whole eggs with some almond butter, and then I'll have like my green shake, or I'll have protein powder. I'll have a shake with like protein powder, Iso Smooth obviously, with protein, and then I'll have a little bit of like frozen blueberries, instant almond milk, bam, wash that back. If I have some time and I'm home, I love nothing better than like, you know, some whole eggs, sunny side up, with some like good, nice pieces of like toast, like whole grain, nice little like butter on it, and a couple of pieces of like turkey bacon or even bacon. I can have it.
What's your go-to supplements?
My go-to supplements that I'm doing right now, I'll take it right now. So right now I'm taking Iso Smooth, protein, Createch, our Status, which are, it's our test booster, has Tongjak Ali in it, and as well as our Omegas, and then our greens. And that's what I do on a daily basis.
How to avoid pain in the shoulder joint doing cable crossovers?
If you're having pain in the shoulder joint doing cable crossovers, I would make sure that you're tackling, guys, I'm gonna say it's like, again, I'm gonna repeat myself all the time, which is totally fine. If you have pain in your shoulder, there's a couple things that are happening. Number one, you're not prioritizing your mobility. You're either lifting too heavy or your form might be off a bit. So start from like process of elimination. Get your form right. Your form is good, there's still pain there. Okay, cool. Are we lifting too much weight? Okay, no, cool. All right, now we have pain still. All right, what's that? Are we stretching? No. All right, there you go. So work your way back, and that's your answer.
What is a good exercise to strengthen the lower back soft tissue?
Lower back soft tissue.
Yeah.
A few things. You can directly train it by doing like anything where you're doing like a back extensions, or you can indirectly train it by literally doing, bent over, like anything like back related that's not chest support is going to challenge your back. Your back isn't necessarily doing anything like this. It's staying in a static position, and anything holding weight this way, you're challenging your back. Your erectors help you do this, basically. So anytime you have weight pulling it down and you have to keep yourself in a parallel position, your lower back is being worked. You can do that, or you can do stuff like, let me show you a cool exercise actually. This is a fun one. Don't mind the mess over here. We'll figure it out. On this thing. Behind the scenes, guys, behind the scenes. Okay, so what you can do is, if you have one of these, or if you have a regular back extension machine, right? You can come from here, right? And I'm keeping my chest is gonna go down. I'm not gonna just do this. So I'm gonna lower with my chest, still engage, and then I'm gonna come up and pause from here, right? You can do this. If you're feeling super fancy, you can do this from here, and then pull here and pull. You do the same thing. If you had, say, like dumbbells, same idea. You kind of do this as well. And if you want to get even crazier, you can come out like this and make it even harder.
Tony wants to know, how do I grow my glutes? Need to get thick.
Squat all day, baby. To be honest, like any kind of hip and knee flexion, right? Any movement you can do. The more knee flexion you get, a couple things, if your mobility is not that good, I get myself some wedges or squat shoes, right? Any movement where you're doing this is gonna make your glutes work. So whether we're doing a goblet squat, front squat, back squat, hack squat, or front foot elevated, split squats, right? We're getting, you can see by my juicy glutes, but from like real talk though, from here, you can see that I want to get all the way here. And this is, I got a good amount of knee flexion as well as hip flexion as well too. And this is what's going to force growth from here to here. Do that, some version of that, some kind of squat movement with, a lunge variation, even some RDLs. Kill those, are good.
Bad lower back, so can't do squats or deadlifts really. How
For legs, leg extensions, so easy. I've had this question before, and when I couldn't train my back before, I had to do the same thing. Leg extensions, hamstring curls, leg press, and if you can, I would say dumbbell load, split squats. Load with the dumbbell from here, and you can get the same thing. We don't have to load the back, the spine to work our lower body.
Thoughts about muscle imbalance, natural and not natural?
So here guys, this is every time somebody called me out in one video a couple years ago, like, why is your arm bigger than the other one? I'm like, someone fucking knew, fuck. So my arm, because I was injured, I tore my AC football a long time ago. I lose connection neurologically. So after a while, when you probably see some videos when I'm doing like examples of like one arm, this one starts to be like, it does this. So it doesn't grow as much as this one. So you can see that my right tricep, my left tricep is bigger than my right tricep. Not necessarily my peak of my bicep, but my tricep, that's what makes it a lot bigger. I have been trying to balance these things out. It's not gonna happen, right? Now, if you have, and everybody has a bigger side. We're not perfect. Don't chase perfection and balance. It's not gonna happen. Bodybuilders look like we have, like good symmetry. We really don't. We're really, really good at hiding our weaknesses, and that's what bodybuilding is. It's hiding our weaknesses while showing our strengths. If you have been injured and you have atrophy from like a broken arm, leg, whatever, then 100% you can build that muscle back. Don't stop training the other side. Like you can, like if you like hurt I know a guy who tore his tricep and then he hurt his hip. And then when he used to go to the gym, he used to train I'm like, what are you training today? He's like, I'm training my left bicep and my left hip. You know what I mean? Like he would still go. But again, like our body's working like a coil. They work across. So if this side's injured, say like I broke my right arm and I can't train anymore, my biceps getting smaller. If I train this side still starts to heal. So when I can actually train this side, then we start doing both unilateral, which is basically one at a time, 2 bilateral exercises now help grow that side. And then I would start off with the arm that is actually atrophied. So when I do biceps, or if I'm doing any kind of unilateral work, I'm always doing this side first. It's like literally, I'll do triceps. And if I'm doing like say tricep extensions, then I got like 50 pounds on it and I only get to say 12 reps. On the other tricep, I'm probably gonna do like 10. I'm just not gonna continue to have this one growing bigger than the other one, so.
What kind of supplements should I get into? Protein, creatine, pre-workout, anything else?
Okay, so protein is not a supplement. Let me make that clear. Protein is a food. Food. You need protein. We don't say chicken is a supplement, right? I'm just saying it to you, not trying to be redundant or condescending, but think protein is a necessity, 100%. 2, creatine, tested and approved. It is absolutely amazing. It's not just for your muscles, it's actually for your cognitive health in your brain. So you take some creatine, 3 to 5 grams a day, you'll actually help you get smarter and stronger. Vitamin D, if you're in a place that doesn't have enough sun like us, we have these shitty long winters and dark seasons forever. You need to supplement vitamin D because the sun is the only place you can actually get vitamin D. You can't get enough of it from your food. So vitamin D is massive for health overall, your immune system, all that good stuff. Omegas are gonna help with your omega-3 fatty acids. Absolutely like a necessity for sure. And some kind of probiotic and like some magnesium as well too.
How can I get an in-person workout with you? I'm from South Florida.
Dope. So far, dope. So I will, when I am traveling again, I'll let you guys know, and then you guys can sign up. I do it all the time. Every time I go somewhere, I open up coaching, and then you can book a session in with me, and I'll put you on the channel and everything too. So send me an email, johnny@johnnyshreve.com. Send an email there, and then let me know. But I will be traveling very soon. After May, I'll be starting back, and I'll be traveling. I have to get some shit together for a bit here.
Do you have a vid on stretching before and after your workouts?
I do. Just honestly type in Johnny Shreve and mobility or stretching and a bunch should pop up.
Do you have any weird or funny mental cues for exercises?
Well, cues? I'm gonna go through a bunch. Okay, so We got deadlifts. When we're doing deadlifts, right? We're here, right? Pretend somebody's tickling your armpits. You lock in, right? Everyone locks in when they're tickling their armpits. If you're trying to externally rotate the legs, like what I mean by externally rotation is basically like align your knee with your toe. So make sure when we're squatting, we don't get this. I always say pretend there's a piece of paper on the floor and you're trying to rip the piece of paper, and you want to rip the paper until the knees are aligned with the toes. If you're trying to figure out how to hinge properly, I always say pretend you're in a shitty bathroom, public bathroom, and you got there's no toilet paper. You know what I mean? Or there's only enough left. There's toilet paper. There's definitely toilet paper, but there's only left to wipe, not enough to make the nest. So you got to kind of do one of these things and do the hover. It's an easy way to, everyone knows how to do this, right? If we're trying to hinge, boom, look at that. We're doing an RDL, bam, like that. What's another one? If we're trying to really push, I call it milk the cow. So when we're on say a row machine and I want to make sure I'm not doing this, right? I want to make sure I'm not doing this kind of stuff. I want to depress my shoulder. I say milk the cow. So pull the milk the cow, pull it down while you row, and it keeps your shoulders in place. Some other ones. From floor to core, shoulders back and away from your ears, stack the joints, right? Stacking the joints basically means that anything, you want to make sure the fist, wrist, and elbow are staying behind the bar or in front of the bar, right? However you want to look at it. So when I pull, everything's in alignment. If I'm up here and I'm pulling, everything's in alignment. If I'm pushing, everything stays in alignment. That's going to help you out with that. I got a ton more, but I was going to make a shirt called Stack the Joints. And I haven't figured out what I want to do with it. Actually put joints there or just have, bones looking like joints. I don't know, whatever.
When should you stop bulking? When you start seeing a muffin top or?
Yes. So you can understanding overall body fat percentages is pretty, I would say anything between, if you can't see you don't need to have full on abs. I'll give you an example. Right now, my body fat is about 14. This is my body fat, 14%. This is an actual 14% body fat for me, right? Everybody pinches differently. Everybody holds body fat differently. If I'm, for me, I have a few places on my body that I don't like starting to get fluffy. And if I start seeing my chest here, get that little extra piece of skin, I'm just nah, man, you gotta add maybe 5-10 minutes of cardio a day and get that away. I don't want that, right? So again, it's not gonna be good for your head. Understand that, when you put on all that weight, it doesn't make you feel good, right? So if you're trying to, add weight, do it in a way where you're slowly doing it so you can kind of back yourself away if you have to.
Next time I need a mic because it's harder to hear the questions, so we'll have to mic me up for the questions next time. There's just a couple of comments about that.
Oh, well, I told you to put a mic on.
I know, right? What about almost permanent tightness? No matter how much I stretch, Achilles up to thighs are always tight. I do play a lot of basketball and sometimes volleyball.
That's gonna do it. 100%. If you a couple things. Think about. Do we have a thing here? A few things you can do. Number one, see what kind of shoes you're wearing. I would, and look, I'm not in this next cult of barefoot stuff, but I'm definitely seeing the benefits of having barefoot, shoes. Find a pair of shoes that's going to allow you to actually open your feet up. Number one. Two, if you're getting tight here and no matter what you do, there's a reason, right? Your foundation is in your feet. So if we're jammed up in here, I don't know if you saw LeBron's feet before, man, they're nasty as hell. It's they're doing gang signs. I don't know. But you want to do stuff that's going to strengthen all the way from the bottom. So you can do little drills do we have a thing here? We don't. I got my shirt.
Your shirt?
Yeah.
Your sweater?
Yeah.
Your sweater?
Yeah. So a couple of things you can do. If you have a towel, it's a really good one to do. If you have a towel, you kind of you put it on the ground, and this is hard because it's fucking ground start. But you want to kind of take your shoes off and start pulling it in, right? You're strengthening your feet, right? So a lot of things like this, strengthening your toes and your feet, as well as letting your feet open up. That's gonna help keep this from being so tight. Most of the time we're using why this is tight is because this is tight. Think about like, so I made a really good example. Think about doing like yoga with hard mittens on and how much, like you think of this, like do this with your hands. Do this. And look what happens to your arm, right? If you try, look at how much right here is getting tight. No matter how much you stretch this, I can't stretch until I do this, right? Our feet, our hands are almost like very similar. We, one time, we're walking on all fours. So you have to kind of like think that way too. So start doing some stuff for your, get a ball where you're stretching your your fascia and your feet, plantar fascia. Get a ball, roll it out like that, and then work your way up to your calves, and you'll probably start feeling a little better in your calves. That's, guys, I gotta go. I gotta film. We're block shooting for a bit, so I'll take some. Guys, send me all the questions that you have here that I didn't get to answer. Save them till next week. But also, guys, you can also join my school group where we do similar to this, and we start that this week. So if you want to join the school group, $25 a month, you get all the things that I create first and foremost. EBOOKS, training plans, courses, all this stuff is basically like the easiest way to get coached from me, and it's just like this in even more. So, but I appreciate you guys, and I gotta go. Did you see any messages on there with like a dollar thing?
No, I always
Good.
read those.
Good, because I don't want people to miss out and they do that and pay and like, John, what the hell? All right, so make sure, get everybody. But guys, I appreciate you all. You guys, love you guys. Next week, and guys, appreciate you guys supporting. Appreciate you guys keeping this channel growing. And until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep gene chasing, and thank you, Erica, for.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Take care, guys.